BSc, aided, unaided, and self-financed courses of KC and HR College. Today, we have with us a very well-known psychiatrist, Dr. Avinash D'Souza, speaking on a pertinent topic, mental health in modern era. Mental health has been a taboo topic for many years, in spite of its tremendous influence on various dimensions of our life. Today, we shall unravel various aspects of mental health which are relevant in today's modern era. But before we delve into the topic, let me call upon Dr. Shalini Sinha ma'am to deliver the welcome address. Dr. Shalini Sinha ma'am is the Vice Principal, Students Affairs at KC College. She is an Associate Professor in the Department of English at KC College and also the Coordinator of Department of Computer Science in KC College. We invite you, ma'am, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pooja. A very good morning to each one of you. I take great pleasure in welcoming Dr. Avinash D'Souza to this day's induction program. Students, you may not know, but you will soon know that Dr. Avinash D'Souza is one of the most renowned psychiatrists of Mumbai. He has been associated with us at KC College for a very, very long time. For us, he is just a phone call away. And I thank you, sir, so much for having taken this opportunity. You've come here at such short notice only because Dr. Bagla called you and you're so closely associated and because you have students' welfare at heart. So I thank you so much for having come here at such short notice. I convey at the outset Dr. Bagla's apologies to you. She is now our Honorable Vice Chancellor and she could not be here today. So I convey her apologies to you, but I assure you that all of us over here are really eagerly waiting to listen to you because the topic that you are going to talk about is something that is so pertinent to today's students, especially after this 1.5 years of lockdown. Not just the students, all of us have been suffering from some forms of depression. All of us feel as if, the space is never going to end. And we look to you to help us and guide us, how to have a more positive approach to life. So this is so important, the topic that is today. And my dear students, I welcome each one of you today. And I implore you to listen to Dr. Avinash D'Souza very carefully because he will really help us. So many of us are suffering from mental issues. Mental issues are not taboo any longer. They are some things, they are just like physical problems. They are something that should be spoken of by everyone who's suffering. And we sort of tend to hide these issues, whereas the need of the hour is to discuss it and to seek help. That help will be given to us today. In fact, some guidance about that help will be given to us today by Dr. Avinash D'Souza. Thank you so much, sir. I welcome each one of the teachers, the vice principals of both the colleges who are here today to listen to you. And I welcome all the students and their parents too who may be listening. Parents also will be guided by what Dr. D'Souza says. And in today's times, it is parents who need to understand the issues of mental health problems more so that they can look after their children properly. So thank you so much, sir. And without taking any more time, I would like you to please start. But before that, I would request Dr. Pooja Soni to give her an introduction of Dr. Avinash D'Souza to all our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for welcoming us so well. I would like to introduce Dr. Avinash D'Souza. Dr. Avinash D'Souza is a consultant psychiatrist and psychotherapist. He is also the director and founder trustee at D'Souza Foundation. This organization's main mission is to promote education and awareness in the area of mental health. He is one of the very few psychiatrists who's achieved master's degree in human resource development, psychotherapy and counseling. He also has MPhil degree in applied psychology. He's also been awarded a doctorate degree in clinical psychology from University of Hertfordshire in UK in 2011. He has over 300 research publications in reputed national and international journals. He's also the author of 6 books in the area of mental health. He is a research associate at the Department of Psychiatry at Sion Hospital. He works with 15 mainstream and special schools in Mumbai as a visiting school psychiatrist, counselor, and school mental health expert. He is also visiting faculty and professor at various teacher training courses across India. He also is several times invited as a speaker in various national and international courses. We welcome you here, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And we would like you to now begin your talk. Thank you.
Am I audible clearly? Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Phil. Good morning, everyone, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. The topic that I'm going to speak on is mental health in a modern era, and we're at a very apt time because the 4th October to the 10th of October is the Mental Health Week, and 10th October is World Mental Health Day. So we're in a very apt time to talk about this topic. Whenever I talk about mental health, I always say that it's a really neglected area. And the reason I say it's neglected is because people keep talking about physical health. Everyone gets a blood checkup done, gets their sugar levels done, gets their cholesterol done every 6 months. As a psychiatrist who's been in practice for more than 2 decades, I've had a lot of patients come to my clinic and tell me, sir, I'm anxious, sir, I'm depressed, sir, this has happened, that has happened. I've never had someone who's come to me for a regular mental health checkup. I always say that we never ever try and say, okay, I'm just going in for my 6 monthly mental health checkup to see whether I'm fine or not fine. So no one really takes mental health seriously. People come once the problem occurs. So they'll say, I've lost my mother, I'm in grief, so I've come to you. I have had a breakup, so I'm upset, so I've come to you. I'm undergoing a separation, so I've come to you. So they generally come during these periods. So it's generally post a problem that people come. Another also pertinent issue is that there's a lot of stigma, a lot of negativity when it comes to going to a mental health professional, because a psychologist or a counselor may be a little more accepted, but if you go to a doctor like me, the worry is he's a psychiatrist, he's a doctor, he probably is going to prescribe medication. Are the medications going to be addictive? Am I going to be doped? Am I going to be admitted into a mental hospital? So the whole picture you have of a psychiatrist is someone who is in a white coat in a mental hospital dealing with psychiatric patients, because that's what you've seen. But what I want to convey today is psychiatrists are fairly and largely as human as you are. They sit in their own clinics like any other doctor and they talk to their patients. They prescribe medication if needed. But we're never really here to impose diagnoses and probably label people as having a disorder. We're here more to help people overcome various obstacles that they face in life. What's also very important is that a lot of people ask me, how do I know whether I'm mentally ill or fine or what's wrong with me? Well, the answer is purely simple. If you feel anxious, if you feel worried, if you feel affected, you feel chhati mein dhad dhad ho raha hai, ghabrat ho raha hai, पेट में गुड़ हो रहा है, you don't know what's happening and you're anxious, well, that indicates you have a problem. If you feel sad, if you feel low, if you feel upset, if you feel like crying, if you feel that life isn't worth living, well, obviously you probably are having some symptoms which are suggestive of depression and you need to seek help. Mental health conditions are very common. So if you ask me, probably 1 in 3 people suffer from a mental health condition or depression rather. 1 in 2 people suffer from some mental health condition. That's how common it is. It's around 50% of the world currently post COVID has some kind of mental health issues. So you must be ready to probably seek help and get help when you need it. One of the biggest obstacles to getting help for mental health is that I'm not that ill, I'm not that upset, I'm not that seriously upset that I need to seek help. So the bottom line is that I need to seek help primarily because it's important, because I may not be seriously ill, fine, but still go and get yourself checked up, still go and get yourself screened, still go and get yourself assessed. You never know where a problem may lie. So whenever you feel a little low, you feel a little up and down, you feel a little upset, please go and seek help from a mental health professional. Please go and seek help from whoever is available. Do not hesitate to go and meet someone. Very important fact about mental health is please talk to people. Please talk. Please voice your feelings. Please vent what you want to say. Please say whatever emotions are going through your mind. But the bottom line is you have to discuss what you're feeling. You have to talk about it. You have to be vocal about it. It's only when you're vocal about it will probably people will, understand what you're going through. Only when you're vocal about it will people probably know what you're sort of undergoing and what are the issues that you're facing. Another issue which is very very important when it comes to mental health related problems is the fact that you might at times feel that it's negligible. I mean, it can get over on its own. A lot of people say snap out of it. A lot of people say just you'll bounce back. No, you don't bounce back on your own. You do need help. You do need some support. You do need psychological support. You do need counseling. You do need advice. And why you need to go to a counselor is because a counselor is scientifically trained in managing these issues. You can talk to a friend, but your friend may not be trained in giving you the right advice. The counselor is trained, knows what to tell you. Another very important issue when it comes to mental health is that a lot of people feel that mental health is not related to physical health, but both are. So if you're having acidity, if you're having constipation, if you're having diarrhea, if you're having menstrual problems, if you're having headache, if you're having backache, very often these are conditions, even diabetes, blood pressure, asthma, these are all conditions which are linked sometimes to some underlying psychological issues. Heart problems are linked to psychological issues. So a lot of physical disorders are also linked to mental health conditions. A lot of physical disorders are also linked to various mental health problems. So it's very important that these conditions are addressed. It's very important that mental health is addressed, and seeking help doesn't make you small. Few things I'll clarify. I mean, what is the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist? Because this is very important. A psychologist or a counselor or a psychotherapist is someone who is trained in psychology. They've done their masters probably in psychology, and they've done other courses, and they are probably going to talk to you, counsel you, advise you, speak to you. A psychiatrist is a doctor. He's an MBBS MD doctor who's done psychiatry, and he is also going to do counseling. He's also going to talk to you, but he has the additional power to prescribe medications when needed, which a counselor may not be able to do. So that is one difference between a psychiatrist. Also is a doctor, so he may also handle some medical issues that you're facing, versus a counselor who may not be really adept at handling certain medical issues. Coming to certain other facets of mental health which are very important and are neglected is many young women neglect their mental health. So if you're having a lot of premenstrual issues, if you're having a lot of issues around the menstrual cycle, if you're having a lot of issues around various factors, then it's important that you again seek help from a counselor. If you're feeling low, if you're feeling sad, if you feel there are hormonal problems and you feel these are affecting your mood, please seek help from a mental health professional. This is something which is very, very important. For all our students, if you feel that you have a difficulty in concentrating, focusing, remembering, there are attention issues, there are concentration issues, please seek help from a mental health professional. Do not hesitate to seek help. Many a times it also happens that a lot of people feel that, um, you know, I am not that seriously ill. मैं उतना बीमार नहीं हूं कि help लूं. And I always say, don't leave that decision to you. Please let the counselor, the professional, the scientific person take that decision. So Do not leave that decision to you. Now, one more thing you may ask me is, what if I'm labeled as having a problem? Well, don't worry about the label. That label is not going to stick with you for life. If someone tells you you're having depression or you're having anxiety or you're having any other problem, the label is not going to stick with you for life. You're going to receive treatment. What are the treatments that I'll receive? Well, you could receive some counseling, you could receive some therapy, you can have some medication. Some, not all patients, probably 50% of patients may need medication. And your entire family may be educated about the problem that you're having so that they understand you better. One of the commonest problems faced by people who have mental health issues is they say, my family doesn't understand I have a problem. My family doesn't understand I have depression. My family doesn't understand I have anxiety. So the family needs to be educated. This is something which is important and vital. The family needs to be explained what the problem is. So these are things which are, very, very important and essential. Another very sort of pertinent issue which has come across is um, digital use. The COVID pandemic has made us more digital than ever. I think we have all become more addicted to our phones, our laptops, our gadgets than we ever were. So we have stopped using the real way of life. We become more virtual. Our presence virtually has become far more. So it's important that we learn to understand that the digital world is very, very important. We learn to understand that while the digital world is important, we also have a life beyond that. We can't get addicted to our smartphones, we can't get addicted to the internet, we can't get addicted to Netflix, we can't get addicted to many other things. So what's very important is that you need to break away from excessive digital usage. That is one of the new problems that we're seeing. We're seeing people who are the whole time online. We're seeing people who are the whole time on their phones, the whole time chatting, the whole time probably seeing Netflix. And as a result, they have no personal life, they have no social life, they have no life beyond their gadget. So gadget addiction, video game addiction, these are newer mental health problems that we're seeing. And if you find anyone having these issues, they need to seek help. Similarly, you never cope with your mental health problem by resorting to alcohol. You don't cope with your mental health problem by resorting to cigarettes or weed. A lot of people tell me weed is organic and it makes me think better. The answer is no. Weed is a chemical at the end of the day. It's a chemical that plays with your brain and it makes your brain feel different. So it's not going to make you feel positive. Rather, you're going to have negative impacts or negative repercussions of probably using weed. So what's very important to understand is that uh, substance use, that is alcohol, cigarette, weed, is not the way out when it comes to uh, these things. No, it's not the way out. It's not the way out when it comes to various other issues that we face. No, you can't cope using that. You have to cope in a positive manner. Look at yoga, look at meditation, look at relaxation, look at a good sleep. Sleep is one of the areas which is the most neglected area of mental health. Most people should sleep around 6 to 7 hours, but they end up sleeping primarily for just very few hours. They sleep is something that uh, makes you also feel that people feel I can sleep 5 hours and manage. No, but you're doing a disservice to your brain. You're doing a disservice to your body. You're affecting your body. You need to sleep properly. You need to restrict your caffeine intake. Don't have too much of tea. Don't have too much of coffee. This is something which is very essential. You need to have sleep hygiene. No, don't keep your gadgets and sit on the bed and keep awake. No, you need to have sleep hygiene. These are things which are very essential. So sleep is something, another area which is slightly neglected. Like I said, positive coping also means speaking to friends, speaking to people, speaking to others, speaking to uh, um, um, uh, I would say people who you're comfortable with. Apart from that, doing things that you enjoy, painting, a hobby, listening to music, relaxing. These are very important methods, which is very important. I mean, love to address any questions which are there, and I would request students that, you can please start typing your questions in the chat, so I might sort of address them as we go along. What's also very, very important is to understand that mental health can't be neglected. Mental health is a necessity. And post COVID, where we've all undergone some kinds of issues, mental health is a big problem. So it's very important that mental health should never be neglected. Mental health should never be sort of let down, and mental health has to receive priority. But sadly, in our society, it doesn't. In our society, it sort of is always on the back seat. Let us strive together to become gatekeepers of mental health. I've always said that HSNC is a mental health friendly university. I remember with Madam Bagla and other professors, I mean, any student who needs help, we've always been on the forefront to provide help. Any student who needs any kind of support, we're on the forefront to provide support. Because we believe we have to deal with the mental health of students. It's only when students have good mental health will they study better, will they achieve better. And teachers' mental health is equally important. So HSNC, I think, is probably what I would call a mental health friendly university. This is something which is important to understand and do. And I think the last 2 or 3 things which I want to say is, you need to be very uh, aware of mental health, and you need to work in the form of gatekeepers of mental health. So the moment you find you have a friend who's upset, the moment you find you have a friend who's you know low, or you find, please ask him, do you feel life is not worth living? And if he says, yes, I feel life is not worth living, please, 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 please immediately take him to a mental health professional. It's important that we ask people, do you feel anxious, do you feel worried, see that they seek help. Let's become mentally aware, mental health wise aware. Let us make mental health a household name. It's very, very important that we make mental health a household name. And it's only when each one of you brings about mental health awareness to people around you will mental health become a reality. Mental health will never become a reality if we look at it as a taboo topic and not talk about it. Let's talk about the topics that no one likes to talk. Let's talk about depression. Let's talk about anxiety. Let's talk about suicide. Let's talk about menstrual issues. Let's talk about sexuality. It's only when we talk about these things will our hesitation to deal with them go away. And only then will we be able to look at these issues in a better limelight. I just want to wish all the students today all the best. And I want you all to know that we're always there with you. And if you have a mental health problem and you feel no one understands you, please contact us. We'll be more than happy to lend a helping hand to you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Pooja?
much, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
There are a number of questions, Pooja. Could you please ask those questions?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Sir, the first question is, if we accept that we are mentally unwell and are determined to become better, do we still have to seek medical help?
Well, the thing is that you still have to seek not medical help, but mental health help. You need to probably meet a counselor, talk to a counselor, let the counselor ascertain if you need medication, you don't need medication, you need whatever. Let the doctor decide that. I don't think you should decide for yourself what's needed and not needed. I think you leave that to the doctor, and based on that, go with whatever the doctor advises.
Thank you so much, sir. One more question is there. Do medicines for mental health disorders interfere with our physical health?
Well, all medications have some side effects, and psychiatric medications also have side effects. So you may feel sleepy, you may feel appetite is more or less, you may feel acidity. All these things do happen. So talk to your doctor. Immediately get back to your doctor if you feel there's some physical issues arising out of your medication. But it's not that medications lead to physical ailments. I wouldn't really say that.
Rishika Gupta is asking, sir, does gratitude book help for those who have prolonged mental illness?
See, gratitude works only when you have an insight into what gratitude is. It's only when you're aware of what it is and when you're aware about how to use it. So if you have people with serious mental illnesses, sometimes they may not understand an abstract concept like gratitude. So it may be difficult at that time for them to deal with these things.
How do we seek the right mental health professional in the area where we live in?
Well, I think ask around, ask your family doctors, ask people around, find out who's there. See whether you want to go to a counselor first, meet a counselor, let the counselor for you to someone. So this would be the right approach. Or if there is a psychiatrist in your area who's known, then you probably can go directly to him or her.
Thank you so much, sir. Sanskar is asking, is the addiction of excessive studying or giving up your normal standard of living and always being tensed about studying, even after being done with the syllabus, is very bad? What is the remedy?
Well, it indicates that you have some amount of anxiety. So if, despite studying and excessively studying, you're still bothered, probably you need to seek some counseling help. So, visit a counselor, talk to him or her about what your worries are, why this is coming up, and work behaviorally on trying to modify it. I won't say it's something which is a very major problem, but it definitely is something that would need to be addressed.
Rishad Master is asking, while sleeping, the cell phone shouldn't be close to us, but we set out alarms on the cell phone.
No, so the cell phone can be close to you and you can have your alarm on. There's no one saying that. But don't get up every 1 hour and look at your phone, and don't get up and try and see whose message. Keep your internet off, only keep your phone on. So definitely, don't let every beep and every light worry you. Keep it on silent mode.
Janvi is asking, how can we help a friend or family who shows symptoms of mental health and are in denial about the issues?
Well, I think you have to probably catch them, hold them, grab them, tell them we have to go to a mental health professional, accompany them if needed. Let the mental health professional decide whether you have a problem or not. Tell them you're an individual. You do not decide whether you have a problem. Let the person concerned decide whether you have a problem. And based on that, we take a call.
Reha is asking, how can we help our friends when we know they're facing depression, but they are not ready to accept it?
Well, I think the same way, like I said earlier, if you have someone who doesn't accept he has a problem, we request him or her to visit a mental health professional. You accompany them, tell them, let the mental health professional assess and decide whether you have depression or not. Based on your symptoms, we feel you have. And based on that, let the mental health professional decide the required course of treatment. And post that, then we can decide what to do. And if they still don't agree to come, then there's very little you can do sometimes at that stage. Involve the family, involve their well-wishers, try and see whether they can coax them.
Thank you, sir. Gauri is asking, how to stop overthinking, like the feeling of being conscious of everything, feeling of being judged every time. How to?
Well, I think, first of all, stop thinking that people are thinking about you. That's very important. No one has the time. We're all worried with so many other things that we may not have time to think. Sleep well, that's very important. A little bit of yoga, a little bit of mindfulness, a little bit of meditation would help. So work on those areas. If you need anti-anxiety therapy, yes, go in for that. And I think that should play a very good role. You're muted, ma'am. I'm not even.
Pooja, you are on mute.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Eunice is asking, is over usage of smartphone hampering the mental health and how to cope with it?
Well, overusage of smartphones does hamper the mental health because you're only focused on your phone. You're not worried about regular human contact. You're also worried about social media. Every like, everything matters. So, you become so tuned to social media that it causes a lot of, worry. So the important factor here is that smartphone addiction, yes, does lead very often. Why do you go to use a smartphone? Either you're upset, you're anxious, you're worried, you're depressed. So finally, there is some mental health problem which is linked to the smartphone usage that causes certain issues.
Yes, sir. Deepak is asking, can you tell us basic rules of having good mental health when you have had mental issues in the past?
Well, I think stay with positive people, speak to positive people, laugh more, sleep more, eat well. These are important things. Also, talk about what you feel openly. This is something which is very essential. Voice your emotions and your feelings and what you're going through. It's also very important that you look at controlling your anger and your temper, and those are things with which you probably deal with, and that's that.
Heenal is asking, sir, if someone gets angry or sad on small things, which category does it fall?
Well, I think they're just being short tempered, and it's more of a personality flaw that they have, which they can work on. Anger management is definitely possible.
Tanishk is asking, is sleeping 6 hours is enough, or sleeping at right time and waking up at right time is important?
Well, I think you should sleep for 7 to 7.5 hours. That's very important. And secondly, you should probably have the same time of sleeping and getting up on a regular basis. If you have that, your life is a lot more sorted. You're muted. You're muted.
Yes, sir. I have some internet issue here. Very
Okay.
sorry. Janvi is asking, can you suggest some books to check on our mental health and take care of ourselves?
Well, they are no really good books. There are books for depression, anxiety, multiple other things. There's no specific book that looks at mental health in general. So we don't really have anything that way. But there are a lot of these self-help books that you could look at.
Freya is asking, parents play a major role in forming a child's mental health right from their childhood. Is there something you would like to suggest to them to take better care of how they act around their kids?
Well, I think always remember your kid sees you. He follows what you do. He understands what you do. He's learning from you. So it's very important that you have the what you have to do is look at I mean opportunities to probably give your kids good reactions to emulate. That is something which is very important, and I think when you're able to do that, then things get a lot better. Also, show the right emotions to your children. This is very important. Talk to your children, explain to them what you're doing. This is very important.
Siddharth is asking, how do you differentiate going through normal life challenges versus having an actual mental health problem?
Well, normal life challenges cause some stress, some anxiety, some worry, but they go off in a few hours to a few days. But when you have a mental health problem, they remain for a few weeks to up to a month. So the duration is one factor, the severity of the symptoms is one factor, the intensity of the symptoms is one factor. So multiple things play a role.
Someone is asking how to get rid of depression.
Well, the only way to get rid of depression is seek help. I mean, visit a counselor, visit a professional. If you need medication, so be it. If you need counseling, so be it. If you need family therapy, so be it. But get help and get your depression diagnosed. And once you get it diagnosed, seek help. And that's the only way it could work.
Neha is asking, if there is a person who's constantly sharing content on social media related to rejection in personal life, is he or she said to be suffering from some mental problems?
they must be definitely suffering from a relationship issue, even if it is not a mental health problem. So talk to that person, try and find out why they're doing this, try and find out what help they need, and see that they get that help.
Suraj is asking, even after sleeping for 8 hours, some people still feel very sleepy. Why is that?
Well, probably that means they are sleep deprived, and they need to sleep more, which they are not doing. So they need to probably sleep more and sleep better. And it's only when they do that will they be, in a better position.
Sir, there are few more questions.
Yeah,
Shall
yeah,
we take
yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Okay. Eunice is asking, in this pandemic, many extroverts have faced depression and feeling of loneliness, due to which they are not able to interact post-pandemic as they used to before. What would you suggest to the young generation?
Well, I think the young generation has to relearn socialization. They have to meet people. They have to start meeting in small groups and then move to larger groups. They have to, get rid of their gadgets and focus more on other things. And then I think they'll be probably in a better position to, socialize.
Purvi is asking to make our parents understand we are suffering from a mental problem because that generation doesn't consider any problem like that.
Well, I think parents sometimes may not understand because they belong to a generation where there were a lot of myths related to mental health and mental illnesses. So probably you take them to a professional, let the professional talk to them, I think. And if the professional is able to convey to them, probably they may probably understand better. They may not really understand when you try to tell them.
Yes, sir. Anuj is asking, sir, how to convey thoughts if a person is very much concerned about someone, or you want them to know what you think about them, but they took that differently.
Well, I think be very open and frank and convey what you feel. There's no harm. If the person really wants to understand you, they'll understand you properly. If they don't want to understand you, then they look at you differently. That's fine. But you be frank and convey what you feel.
Sir, there are some questions on some phenomenon like how to overcome FOMO.
Well, I
Would
think
mood swings
yeah,
come on?
yeah.
Oh,
So the
sorry.
only way
Yes.
to overcome FOMO is to restrict your social media usage. Then you will have to sort of undergo what we call a digital detox, and when you probably undergo that, you'll then be in a better position to work on that regard.
On similar lines, I think the question is how to deal with the feeling of impending doom all the time.
Well, that's an indication that you have anxiety. So you probably need to seek help from a counselor or a mental health professional. And anxiety is something which can be very crippling. So you need to be, aware and seek help.
Yes. Sakshi is asking what to do when you're suffering from difficulty in paying attention or concentration.
Well, I think when you have attention issues, you need to first assess whether the attention issues are because you're low or you're sad, or the attention issues are because you have an ADHD like issue. And when that is sorted, then it's a lot easier to probably work on all these issues.
Suraj is asking what to do if one has an issue of procrastinating things.
Well, procrastination is again a phenomenon that is related to anxiety and depression. So you need to seek a good counselor's help, on finding out the triggers that lead to your procrastination, assess the severity, assess the kind of procrastination you have, and based on that, you move ahead.
What to do if you are living in an atmosphere of bad vibes and you can't do anything about it?
Well, either you move out or the bad vibes go out, bad vibes go up. There are no two other ways. So either you have to change your atmosphere. Sometimes it may not be possible. So you stay out of the atmosphere as far as possible and come back only when needed.
Why isn't mental health taught in schools from an early age?
Well, I have always advocated that we need to have mental health to be part of the curriculum, and it should be taught in schools. Resilience has to be taught in schools, and I think mental health should definitely be taught in schools. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Probably the government should take it up.
Siddharth is asking how to seek mental health if we can't afford it.
Well, there are a lot of NGOs that offer free help. Just for the knowledge of all students, there's an NGO called Talk to Me that works with counseling, and they offer counseling for as low as 100 or 200 rupees. And if you can't pay that much, then it's free. So there are places where you can seek help.
Sir, can we take this opportunity to inform students that even college has a college counselor
Please,
for
please
personal
do that. Please do
counseling?
that. Please do that. Please,
So,
please.
yes. So your students, y'all can go to the website and check out the details of the personal counselor available for college students. And even the Department of Psychology faculty members are available to address the issues. So y'all can always get in touch with us also. Thank you, sir. HR college also has mental health counselor. Yes. So both KC and HR do give mental health services. Sir, shall I take some few more questions?
Yeah.
How do I stop feeling jealous and stop overthinking? Shashank is asking.
Well, I think we already answered that. Jealousy stems a lot from insecurity and anxiety again. So you need to meet a counselor, start sessions, look at the areas that make you jealous, why they make you jealous. A lot of childhood phenomena could make you jealous. So you need to work on that from a counseling perspective. And same way goes for your overthinking. A good sessions of psychotherapy would help.
Shri is asking, why do people think about God in 3/4 of their lives? Instead, they can be the God if they worked for 3/4 of their life.
Well, definitely, work is a big way to sort of save yourself from mental health issues. So one must work. Well, I think religion is equally important. So God is also essential. But work is something which I think keeps you busy and keeps you going, and that's a very important factor.
Is it true that being an extrovert is as bad as being an introvert?
Well, I think both personalities have their pros and cons. So it's not that. I mean, every person, every human being has some flaws. So let's look at it that way and let's work from that perspective.
How to deal with poor memory?
Well, memory training is something you could opt for in the form of counseling, and you need to look at what area of your memory is affected. And based on that, I think memory help can be sought. And there are some medications that help to boost memory, which can also be given.
How to get over addiction issues, especially addiction to video games?
Well, I think the same way, you need a detox. You need to be away from the video games. You need to undergo counseling as to what led you to the addiction, what part of the video game you like, why you so addicted to it. And based on that, with counseling, we help you move ahead.
Reha is asking, sir, if we have mental health issues, we should go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
Well, I think if we have mental health issues, first you could visit a psychologist if you want. If the psychologist feels you need medical help and further assessment, they would refer you to a psychiatrist. So that's how things would go.
How to feel happy and healthy?
Well, the only way to feel happy and healthy is to feel positive and have positive people around you. Sleep well, eat well, think well, yoga, meditation, music. These are the only ways to feel happy and healthy.
This question was sort of covered earlier, but I would like to put it across. How do we help someone who refuses to accept counseling help?
Well, I think the only way to help someone who refuses to accept counseling help is to try and push them, prod them, take them, tell them come for one session. If you don't like it, don't come again. But at least get them to see a counselor. And I think that would itself help them to seek help.
Sir, we shall just check if there are any more questions.
Please, no problem.
Pooja, you're muted.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Yeah, there is one more question. So, shall I
Yeah.
take it?
Yeah.
How should digital mental health best be evaluated?
Digital mental health tests. No. What was the
Digital
question?
mental health best be evaluated.
Well, I think the number of hours you're online, what are you doing online? How dependent are you on what you're doing online? How addictive is what you're doing online? Can you manage without it? And what is the gadget you're using? What are you using it for? These are the factors that would help determine digital mental health.
So, do we have more questions?
Ma'am, there are repeated questions.
Okay. Shalini ma'am, the questions which are coming now, I think, are repeated. There is one more question.
Yeah,
I
no,
can
no,
see it.
please don't,
Shall we
don't
take
ask
it?
repetitive questions because many are asking the same question.
Okay. Yes.
So something new, then please ask.
Okay. Partri is asking, sir, what can we as an individual do to reduce stigma attached to mental health?
Well, tell people that mental health professionals are nice people and you should go to them. Tell people that mental illness is like any other physical illness and you should seek help. Tell people that don't be afraid to be labeled, with a diagnosis. You need to get help. That's more important.
Pooja, you can take just one or two more questions.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Diksha is asking, when you are really concerned about your career and don't see clear path and has no one to guide you professionally, will counselor help?
Well, definitely. You go to a career counselor. A career counselor will definitely guide you as to what to do. But see that you're going to a good career counselor.
Sir, I'll just check if there are any more
No problem.
questions. There is a technical question, sir. Tisha is asking, can hyperhidrosis be a symptom of underlying?
Yes, it can be. Hyperhidrosis is excessive sweating on the palms. It could be a symptom of anxiety. Yes.
Yeah, Pooja, you're muted.
Ma'am, yes. Shall we move to the next?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Part of the
We really, sir has, answered so many questions.
really answered very
Yeah.
well. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for
Mhm.
really covering the topic so well in depth and patiently answering all the questions of all our students. I would like to now invite Dr. Manjula Srinivas ma'am to propose the vote of thanks. Let me introduce her first. Dr. Manjula Srinivas ma'am is the head of the Department of Mass Media at KC College. She takes care of the two undergraduate programs, that is BA in Multimedia Communication and BA in Films, Television and New Media Production. She also looks after two postgraduate courses, MA in Communication and Journalism and MA in Entertainment, Media and Advertising. We welcome you, ma'am, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for that lovely introduction. You don't have to introduce the family members. We all are a family, but yes, I am Dr. Manjula Srinivas. Avinash sir, a very good morning to you. And almost it's getting to be noon. What a wonderful session we had. I think one of my team, including my vice principals and teachers, will agree that this was probably the one session which had maximum questions. So that also means there was so much of involvement of the students in listening to what you were saying. So thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time to us today. Sir, there were so many things which you were talking about, which is like as a parent we relate to, as teachers we relate to, as mentors to our students we relate to. Pooja has rightly said, the psychology department by itself is such a huge center of counseling so many students. We all as senior teachers and principals, vice principals, we all have been mentoring our students. And as you very rightly said, that HSNC University is very friendly to the teachers and to the students. If there is any problem, this new batch of students can always come to our counselors. They can always write to us. There is so much of communication options available to them to discuss these issues, which could be anything to do with their health, physical, mental. As you rightly pointed out about the hesitation to discuss, the stigma that the society has, I think we all have been discussing it across the departments, the kind of issues very, very smart students have been having because of the pandemic. So I think this was a very, very, even our students a new direction when they step into our university, to understand that we as a team of KCHR and BTT College have been on the forefront of ensuring that there is a holistic development of the students, as a professional doctor is telling. So there were very small little things which you discussed and which you kind of deliberated, and with patience you answered almost all the repetitive questions also. So there was something, for each one of us to take away from this session. On behalf of HSNC University, once again, I start with our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Principal and Dean of Science and Technology, Dr. Hemlata Bagla ma'am, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to interact with you. The Principal and Dean of HSNC University of Commerce and Management, Pooja Ramchandani ma'am, Alani sir, the Humanities Dean, and all my Vice Principals and all the faculty from HR and KC who have been wanting to listen to this session, which is so enriching and so helpful. And it really helps all of us to just defeat the pandemic situation and move forward. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Pooja, for being such a patient anchor, answering and putting all those questions to sir. Thank you so much. Over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, ma'am. I guess if sir would like to conclude with some remarks.
Well, I think
Shalini, ma'am.
I would only like to say that mental health is important. Don't neglect it, and seek help when you need it. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, everyone.